Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it is 6:30. We are now live streaming, and we do have a quorum, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Well, I would like to call to order the Parks and Recs Advisory Board meeting, the special called meeting for Thursday, September 5th. We will now call roll. Jason Alberici.
Present.
David Shannon.
Present.
Joey Costanza.
Present.
Phil Cranmer.
Present.
And missing today is Sean
Michael Janssen is
Yeah.
not available today. And,
Awesome.
we are formally announcing that Coach Ron Hill, after 8 years of service on this board, has stepped down.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, next item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item for those of us here and those watching is the approval of today's meeting agenda. Jim's graciously provided everybody.
I make a motion to approve the meeting.
Second it.
Motion by Alberici, second by Shannon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item tonight is the approval of the minutes from the May 22nd meeting. Take a moment just to look at those. It was quite some time ago. All good by me. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Making a motion to approve the minutes from the May 22nd meeting.
Motion by Cranmer. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Alberici. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next item is public comment. Jim, do we have any public comment today?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any public comment.
Okay, then. Strike that item. And the next item is committee reports. We don't have Sean Michael here. Do you have anything to tell us about?
Opening day for baseball is this Saturday.
This Saturday.
They've been scheduled, they've been having practices, and unlike last spring when they were not actually having practices, they've actually been having practices now.
Yeah, about that weather. That's good to hear.
And their registration numbers are reported to us. They haven't been officially turned in, but their fall numbers appear to be a little over 500
In the fall.
participants. In the fall.
Awesome. Do we have any idea what the spring was? What then?
It was reported at 810, which broke the record that I held of 804
Yeah, awesome.
when I was president.
Congratulations to them. That's awesome. Certainly the fifth field is helping them greatly. Next committee report is Eagle Sticks. Jason, Joey, anything to share with us about?
So most of us were in that meeting with Eagle Sticks in Cambridge. Gosh, there's a lot to unpack, but overall, I think there were some agreements to hit some bullet points. Cambridge now has a practice learning, and in addition to their learn to play, has a Wednesday training
session
for middle school age kids mostly. I'm not sure. Are you guys doing that at Cogburn? At Cogburn.
At Cogburn, yeah.
I know that there's a lot to talk about, but it does seem like there was an agreement that a name may be changed for the rec kids from kindergarten through fifth grade, the youth level, not the middle school age, but there may be a name change. I don't know when that comes through. Was there a time frame?
I'm going to take the responsibility on this one. I have owed all of the lacrosse participants follow-up minutes and notes. I also did have a subsequent meeting with Tim Godby as we talked about ideas for possible name change and impact that has. All I can say is I've simply been deficient in getting that done, and I'm committing to having that done by tomorrow and distribute it to all the participants. And I will also include the members of the PRAB who were not part of the meeting so that you are all included on this as well.
Awesome.
Well, and I do think it's really.
I apologize for the delay.
Oh, no, I think it's really, but it is kind of neat that there's going to be something happening that will help. Numbers, I asked Tim, I don't think at the time when I asked him everything was done, but he said for the youth level, everything's the same. And he did seem to think, the other day when I was talking to him, it seemed like everything was pretty normal, but I have not seen the actual numbers. Have you seen them? No, he said they were the same. And then you've got, and if you include the number of the participants at the learning players that are also Milton but may not be doing the rec, they may be actually up, which is interesting. So I think we'll see that in spring for sure. Maybe we'll have some multiple teams. Cambridge has always had 2. Maybe we'll have more. I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting that there seems to be, there may be more in the spring.
Yeah. The only struggle is age. A lot of times we let 5th graders play up, so that'll be the interesting thing.
Yeah.
The league so some of the practices really just got started for Eagle Sticks last week. It seems like everyone's going good, but we'll hear more in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, next week's games get going for the rec stuff.
Oh yeah, games are scarily, I think, next Saturday.
This Saturday, probably. Maybe the girls start a week later.
I think the girls are a little.
Boys start a week
yeah.
this week. On a total unrelated note, I will say the fields at Cogburn are tremendously improved over last year.
Thank you.
That was.
I would like to thank you very much. I will tell you this summer, we took a different strategy with the fields, all the IGA fields. Instead of replacing sod, we went into a program of fertilization, of course, which we normally do, aeration, but also river sand. We bought over 120 tons of river sand.
Wow.
And invested it in the IGA fields as well as the baseball fields. That's where you've seen your most significant improvement.
Yeah, I mean, that field was, I was overly impressed when I walked out into it. I would make the suggestion that if funds allow, at least at Cogburn, because it was essentially you put one field in there, there's a good 20 yards on the backside that didn't get that treatment and get that you could open that up into even more. There's probably 20 or 25 yards, I bet, that didn't get the treatment.
We'd have to look at what field what area we're formally responsible for.
Oh, I got it. Makes
Because
sense.
we don't have the whole
Got it.
backfield.
Makes sense. Yep.
Right.
I did want to mention,
But
backing off of what Jason just said, yes, the fields at Northwestern are also, especially the backfield, where that softball thing is.
Yes.
I mean, night and day from last year. So that much better. So good job.
Yeah. Great job.
That's great to hear.
I mean, you remember we were sending pictures last year.
Did we do this? I haven't been to the Hopewell Middle School. Did that field do the treatment?
All
too?
of them.
Yeah, and I have not seen Birmingham Falls since that weird contraption was out there.
But yeah, I was very, very pleased with the way
Yeah.
Cogburn looked. I was.
Great.
Keep it up.
It was an effort to do something different because if you do the same thing over, you're going to get the same results, or you're reaching the definition of insanity. So the strategy this year was let's not try grass, let's try sand.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
We've had good growing summer for it.
I'm sorry?
Awesome.
good growth it's been good weather for the summer.
Yes. And the water bill is going to show it. Oof. I will, Mr. Costanzo, you touched on something at Birmingham Falls, and so I'll use this opportunity to alert you. A Boy Scout decided to do his Eagle Scout project by constructing and donating to Birmingham Falls a Gaga pit, which is an octagonal wooden pit that you play kind of like a form of soccer in. You got a ball and you're trying to get it past the defender to hit one of the walls. And the person not only built the Gaga pit, but he built 6 beautiful wooden benches around it so people could sit there while they were waiting their turn to play. and despite being told by the principal where to put it, decided that there was much flatter land out in the middle of this backyard area. And I got a call from Tim Godby saying, "What the hell is this thing doing in the back?" And so we had to get it moved.
Yep.
The irony of this is that the principal, Don Webb, Don's a great guy.
Fantastic.
He's a great partner to have here with
Yeah.
the city. Don reached out to me today that his PTO has raised the money and they want to build a third playground there. And he's asked me to come out and show him where not to put it.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome. Well, good. I am glad to hear fields are improving. That's awesome. Next item of business, unfinished business, is the announcement of the Wall of Fame inductees.
Yes, this was formally announced at one of the council meetings in the first meeting in July, but we haven't met yet. But I wanted to let you know that we did have 15 candidates, and the threshold to get in was 81 votes. And the following people and their vote tally is as follows. Colin McHugh, who's currently the pitcher on the Astros with a World Series ring, 117 votes. Tim Godby, 13-time state champion coach, got 115 votes. Evan Nolte, former baseball player here at Bell Park and also played basketball, who went on to win an ACC championship with Virginia, 103 votes. Ryan Gridley, former baseball player in this area, now working his way up to the minor leagues, 101 votes. Michael Nugent, who was a professional lacrosse player, 94 votes. And Lydia Witkowski, who was a college softball player, 93 votes. Sadly, one person made 80 votes, and he needed 81 to get in. Okay, so
What was the total number that made it?
6 people made it.
6 people.
And we're getting a plaque made now, and we're simply going to list them as class of 2019 and then list their names alphabetically. We're not going to list them by vote total. Because it doesn't matter how many votes you got in.
Right.
You got
in.
in.
Jim, remind me, the people that did not get in, can they be nominated again?
Yes.
They can.
They can stay on the ballot for 5 more years, or 4 more years.
Right. Did we discuss the idea of a ceremony, particularly for the opening wall
Yeah,
thing?
the plan was to have this for Saturday, but
Yeah.
we're not ready.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on the plaque, and I'm not sure what we can put together, but we're going to try something. We want to do something.
Would a reasonable be to do something at the end of the baseball season at Hopewell, like on their
On their ceremony for the start of their
start of their in-park tournament?
in-park tournament, or maybe on championship day of their in-park
Or
tournament? Yeah.
championship, something
Yeah.
late in the season and still
Yes.
do it in the fall.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Because I'm assuming you're in contact with these 6 individuals.
Yes, we are.
So maybe we could start, I mean, it is early September. That's late October-ish.
Yeah.
It might be hard to get everybody to show up, but we should at least maybe see if we can get from Juan a date.
We have the dates from when the tournament is.
So then we could at least reach out to them, see how many we could get, and then figure out, do we build something around it? I mean, if we get 1, maybe no big deal. You get 3, maybe we try and make it a public event of some sort.
Okay.
Did you feel like you had good time for the nominees? Enough time to get enough nominees? Was that?
Oh, yes. And what I want to do is I want to use, when we kick this off, announce the winners and, place the plaque. I'd like to also use it as the opportunity to say, hey, we're accepting nominations now
Yeah.
for the Wall of Fame for the class of 2020.
Right.
We had how many nominees in total? Just, I don't,
Total of 15 nominees.
yep,
6 made it,
got it, great.
which, the threshold was, had to get 60% of the vote, and 60% of the nominees
Got it.
got
That
it.
works,
So
yeah.
the math worked out incredibly
Yeah,
perfect.
good job.
We're just
Did we
geniuses how we
do-
built it that way.
Did we give people a form to fill out for the nomination?
We have an online form, and we intend to tighten it up a little bit, because I think we need to put a character limit on it.
Yeah, some of them are long.
Well, some of them were long and some of them were short.
Short, yes.
Right?
I would
mean,
agree.
Yeah.
You know, some of them,
Yeah, went on
you
a
know,
little
so
bit.
I know, I just think like in my high school one, they have a, hey, what did they do in high school? What did they do in college? What did they do after? Right? And, you know, what have they done since college that
Right.
might justify this? You know, kind of 3 areas or, you know, something, just give some people some parameters, because that was the one thing that I looked at when I was reading through all of these. You're like, okay, well, and no offense to some of them, but it was like, well, he volunteered like a dad. I know 12 other dads that volunteered a lot of seasons and did that too, right?
That's right.
I don't know that that makes them the person for this.
Mr. Alberici, I'm going to tell you, I really think that was the biggest lesson learned from this first go-round. We got to tighten up that nomination
Like how
process.
we just, maybe there's some very specific guidelines to, or questions.
Little outline to it.
Yep.
Well, I think we should chase the
can finesse
ceremony as a goal. I mean, it'd be a great way to kick it off. I mean, I see a Saturday at the park, council, us, you know, newspaper, and at the minimum, it turns into a newspaper story, but
Well, especially since I know that, yes, as soon as people get wind of it, there are some people that probably didn't even get thought about. And yeah, that's a good point. They're
So,
going to hear
exposure.
it. Exposure, exactly.
Yeah.
so we should shoot for some kind of ceremony.
Yeah, and even if it's, you know,
Great idea.
something where it's not huge, where the park doesn't have to be full, right? To your point, that the
Right.
paper's there.
Right.
And we buy a cake and put a cake out there
Yep.
and, you know, make it a celebration of them, because it is, it's an accomplishment. Right? We're recognizing their accomplishments.
Was the council seem like they liked how it went, the process? I know it took a while, but
I'm sorry, I didn't.
was the council seem pretty good about it? Did they?
Oh, yeah, they were very pleased. And I will tell you this, Saturday, November 2nd is Championship Day at Bell Memorial Park. So what better way to celebrate a Championship Day than see if we can
Yeah,
tie that in,
yeah,
Yeah.
all right?
that'd be a great day. Okay,
So let's target November 2nd.
okay, awesome.
Joey, can we get the plaque by then?
I'm pretty sure we can. I'm actually just got a text from Kathleen, so I'll tell her.
Okay. Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay, great work by everybody. I know it took a long time. A lot of people were involved, some here, some not here. Thanks to Tom and Jim for the work on getting this out the door. I think it's a great first launch of our Wall of Fame, so I'm excited about that.
7 years.
Yeah, should be fun. New business. Under new business today is a discussion, so I don't know that we're voting today, but a discussion of future program offerings for the City of Milton Parks and Recreation Department. Jim, maybe you want to tell everybody a little bit of how this item got here, or I'm happy to share a little what I know so far and kind of where we're going with it.
All right. The city manager, Steve Krokoff, has approached Scott and me and challenged the Parks and Rec Advisory Board to really get deep into the 2027 master plan. One of the aspects is what programs do we aspire to offer? And what programs do we feel we should be offering now, but we don't have the resources? And then look into ideas of, if it's something we should be offering now, is this something that perhaps, and this is not a confirmed idea, so we're fleshing out an idea, not an approved project, so we're all clear. But what if the city were to come up with a limited amount of funding to cover the out-of-city fee for a person to participate in a program that we feel we should be offering, but we are not able to at this time? And this way we could get into that right away. And then what other programming should we be working towards to be able to provide, such that that in turn will guide us into what field or facility space should we be pursuing? In other words, start to create the list and order of what we should be doing. I think you will find that there seems to be a movement towards some type of active space funding, whether it be a bond or some other thing. I cannot speak at that right now, but clearly it's become, the green space bond has been extremely successful. That is nearly out of money, meaning that task is done. And I think you're starting to see people saying, okay, what about the active space? And Steve is looking for you, the Parks and Rec Board, working with Tom and me to create the very specific list of what direction we go.
So I'll take it a step further, Jim, and for the rest of you guys, as Jim laid out, I think there's really two parts to this task. One is creating a list that will prioritize, not necessarily today, into next month's meeting, perhaps in a workshop, of what would be 2020 offerings. What are concrete things that might have been in the old MOU that we would consider putting on a list to recommend to the council? We need to cover these. And the most likely candidate is things that existed in the MOU. We may look at some of Christian or Connor's work tonight. And then the second piece of it, which I've communicated with some of you, is sort of what is the longer range, as Jim's alluding to, bigger bond maybe issues, bigger capital intensive projects around what programs are growing at what rate and what do they need in the next 5 years. And that's really the second part of.
And then, if I may, the third part refers to where you've asked each member of the board to talk to respective program partners to help with 5-year planning.
Right.
So that is not intended to come up tonight. Rather, we're saving that for 2 weeks. We're going to be biting off a lot tonight. So unless we want to be here till 10 o'clock, let's eat this in reasonable chunks, and this is the primary reason that I pushed so hard for us to meet after we couldn't meet last month. Because otherwise, you start to have the volume of work we have to grind through gets tedious.
So to work backwards, so for those of you who have an assigned program partner or who've got an assignment, we need to get the feedback from our providers before this month's next meeting on the 19th. So it'd be helpful to get that maybe a week before. So if we could get that by the 12th, that would be probably the best. Specific. So with that little outline I gave around what is their 5-year plan, enrollment, how many fields do they need? I think I sent that to you guys by program. I sent you a little attachment. Phil reminded me that I didn't send an attachment. Something looked like that.
Oh, yes.
So something like that. I can resend it to you.
Okay.
But we need the partners to provide us that information on the long range, next 5 years. What do they see as enrollment by season? And then subsequently, what does that mean by fields? Because that is the big piece of what we're going to cover. But we're going to invite the providers next month to come and speak to it in front of us. We'll have a workshop during our meeting on that topic. So that's the first thing. If you don't have it, I'll make sure we resend it out to everybody in their liaisons. Then the second piece tonight will be to kind of just go through programming and create a list of, without any prioritization, of what should we be in, business we should be in. I mean, Steve's question is, sort of what is the mission? What does the Parks and Rec and the City of Milton want to be? So we're going to kind of make a list of that tonight. To get to that point.
And by the way, I think you and I talked, we're not aiming to make a final list tonight, but rather let's put it out here and think about it and talk about it. And perhaps we get to the point by October's meeting.
Yep.
That we're coming up with something that we actually that we would ask you to vote on.
Yep.
We don't want to rush into this.
So two things we'll do. A question, Jim. I know we were going to look at it once. Connor's big listing of programs by the overseas. We're going to go through that tonight.
Yes, sir. We are.
Okay. So let's start with the document Jim's given us from the MOU around all the programs that ended up most recently being covered in it, and. We could start anywhere. I would throw this list out. We should probably kind of chunk through it in terms of identifying what should we offer. What would we put on a list?
Do we have a spare copy of that? I'm going to see if I can put that up on the.
You could take that one, because I got one. You can give that to Jim, because I got one. That's sort of the beginning discussion. And
And
then,
it seems it really boils down to is a lot of this is going to be indoor multipurpose center and figuring out how much money we're going to need for the multipurpose center and also how much money we're going to need for the land to
Right.
accommodate the growth.
right.
So I guess identify what's going to be inside
Yep.
and outside.
So Jim's bringing up for anybody who's watching our meeting live, this was a document from a prior workshop with the council about programs that are offered and were covered under the MOU. So I remember basic assumptions would be things that are current programming we're keeping, right? Everything that's in that list. I don't see anything
Correct.
coming off. So that's a place to start. We're going to agree to keep all that.
And just for clarification, we're going to stratify this in two ways. Is it one, what we should offer today by waiving or subsidizing the out-of-city fee? Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Which call that short-term.
Yep.
And then number two, long-term, what do we want to aspire to have, which
Right.
would require capital investment
Right.
and bring in-house into the city of Milton.
Yep. Yep. So I would focus.
So is it, just a point here, I see cheerleading on this idea. Does an AFL not
They now offer cheerleading.
cheerleading? So that should it be actually under our current programming, right?
Okay.
That
This
one
doc-
off the list. I
Yeah.
thought we saw that.
Yeah, this document was created back in spring of
Before with the Milton.
last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
fall
Milton
of 18.
Steers, when we.
Yeah, and
But
we
with the new
gave the
provider.
presentation in May 2018.
There's also swim lessons on, that needs to be switched over to current too.
Oh,
Okay.
so two of my should offers are already offered.
Yeah, so so cheerleading is covered. Do we have a swim lesson provider, or is the swim team offering swim lessons? How's that?
It's done through Dynamo, the
Okay.
pool management.
So it is covered? Mm-hmm. Okay, so those two we can check off the list as current programs. That's good to know, thank you, that cleans that up. What's missing, Jim, comes to mind, just thinking out loud, is of all the additional program ideas, we don't have I didn't bring, participation numbers to have an idea of what's the rank order of what are the greatest, highest volume programs that were previously covered in the MOU that might be a guide to.
I'd like to suggest that we hold up on that piece of data because by our next meeting, I should have the actual data from Alpharetta for
2018.
the half year that we were still under the MOU.
Okay.
So we could then present you the 2018 as well as the 2019 data.
Great. So that's
Or
covered.
technically, it's 2017 and 2018 data. I apologize.
Yeah. 2017, 2018. Gotcha.
And just in adult footballs, not, right, that was under the last provider as well, right?
Yeah.
So
So that's really
that's
not it never came to
current.
fruition.
It never came to fruition, yeah.
Yep.
Which
Thank
one
you.
was that?
Adult
Adult
football.
football.
We can scratch
Not under our
that.
current offering.
Scott, to your point, between the participation rates as a guide, I do think that is important. But then the other attachment that you provided us was the community wants based on the survey feedback.
Yep.
A lot of that seems to be non-organized activities, the exception of tennis, but we have that.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
If I can also ask you to consider this, when that survey was taken in 2017, that was the statistically valid survey. At the time, the city had an MOU. So there were wants that may have been quite low because people were getting them taken care of through the MOU. Mm-hmm. So now that the MOU is not there, those wants, could be statistically different,
Yep.
I.e. gymnastics.
i.e. gymnastics.
Yeah.
So let me throw this out there then. That being said, we can come up with what we think is important, but worthy of another survey to the citizens of Milton to see what is important for them.
Well, I think we would probably be able to determine that by what the MOU was, right? So if we said, hey, gymnastics is important, and we look over and say that we had, 300 people participating, or that we were paying through the MOU, we can, I guess, take that as that.
Let that be the guiding.
Be that as would be my suggestion, right? If we had, if we know we have lots of softball, girls playing softball in their program, then that should be a guiding factor for us as well, that,
Agreed.
That's a fiscally savvy answer. Survey is quite expensive to do. And again, I realize that there's some data still coming in that we don't have yet. So, we're not coming to the final conclusion. We're doing, I would think we will come through this and say there are some things that are absolutely eliminated. Some things that we can pretty quickly say, yeah, we think they should. And then there's going to be a lot in the middle. We're going to have to sit down and, get more data.
Right.
And so we'll have, I'm just waiting. Alpharetta says they'll have the data to me very, very soon.
We've been waiting, yeah.
Jim, wouldn't 2018 be enough of a guide for now to at least get the ball rolling to identify what the top
It would
participant
be.
sports
If you-
were?
If you'd like, we'll give us a few minutes, we can print it out and get it for you.
The only reason I say that, I'm left guessing.
No, because we're going to have it by the next month's meeting. So I'm okay. I'm okay with waiting until the next month's meeting to see the most current data, because otherwise we're looking at 16 data.
Wait till you see the data that Connor produced for you for everything that exists around this.
Yeah.
area.
So let's just
So-
start with. So let's. I'm thinking out loud. On the list of programs, we've got ideas around what we should offer. We've got best guesses around where we think people are participating. So I'm going to go with let's suggest like a rating system. Like A is we should be doing this. A B is we're waiting for data to make a decision to see where it fits, and a C would be we're tabling it for the moment. Does that sound like a reasonable approach to chunk through this first list in front of us, and then and then we'll go look at the rest of the cities and see if there's anything else that
So
grabs
how
at
far-
us.
Just,
How far
just
out
like
are-
where it says should offer, aspire to
offer.
offer, should not offer.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So just curious, how far out are we then looking at the should aspire to offer?
Aspire
Could be
it's
anywhere.
it's out in the distance, right? Because it could be an indoor. It could be something you do indoor.
that was why I was
facility,
asking.
and we don't have one.
Right.
So
Okay.
an indoor facility is
Yeah, I mean,
who knows, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years.
You think it's
away?
something we should offer, though? You still should.
yeah, if you have a gymnasium, you should offer open gym. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of this is going to be, yeah.
Again,
Dive team.
we're trying to fill out the 2027 master plan and
Right.
create a priority. So
I don't
we should offer it, but it's not something we offer this year, but we want to offer it in 5 years.
Yeah, so I think Jim raised a valid point, because there's part of this is purely a budget discussion. The city's already finalizing budget for 2020. Part of it's what can we afford to subsidize in 2020? So maybe the filter, the first for tonight's purposes of going through it, is just to look at and go, what do we want to consider offering in 2020, irrespective of any other thing? And then when we come back later this month, we'll have some data to support some perception of programs, interpretation of programs, participation in programs, and then we can revisit the rankings. So
Okay.
let's just start at the top of the list, kind of go through and say, is this something we need to do in 2020, or are we going to wait and we'll revisit it when we come back with data for next year? So these were programs that we were previously covering, so let's just kind of chunk through. Adult fitness, anybody got any,
I don't think it's something we need to cover immediately.
Agreed.
yeah, so let's give that one I'll put that in the C category. Like, it could be something we'd offer if we had a facility.
Yep.
I wouldn't say that it's something we would never offer.
Correct. I think that if we had a facility, it's nice to have something there, but, the Planet Fitnesses of the world at $10 a month.
Right.
There's plenty
Okay.
of those places.
Art class or art programming.
Sure.
So I had art on there, and one of the reasons it made it easy for me to say that was when Jim was speaking about some time back in regards to using partners outside of whether we have a facility or not. Is that still possible in this discussion? Is that so? for instance, like music is the same thing. If we don't have a facility, but we should,
It falls into, I guess, the art and the adult fitness and dance would ever fall into having a gymnasium, multi-purpose facility, and, having summer camps. I mean, that's where I would say it fits.
yeah.
So a lot of that's aspired to offer.
So let's, clearly it was in the MOU, clearly some, City of Alpharetta was offering it. Let's make it a B and we'll look at it for data.
As we're going through this, whether we have the facility or not, probably shouldn't matter. It's should we offer it? Is it something that the Milton Parks and Rec Department
Right.
could offer? And if we don't have a facility, that's why we're doing this, so we know
Correct.
what we need.
Right. Yeah, I think like, I'll use art as a good example, Tom, to your point. When we look at data of participation, it'll help us figure out,
Yep.
if it's lowly used.
Right.
And there's 12 families using it, then it gives us feedback to say, it's not our highest priority at the moment, and it makes the decision between A or C easier. But for tonight's purposes, I'll give it a B. We'll look at the data. Babysitter certification.
I had babysitting in the same as art. I noticed that Alpharetta has it. I don't know participation, but I had it in the same. It doesn't seem like it's a very, is that a difficult thing to do? Is
I
it?
could see it being class, kind of like a
Yeah,
CPR class.
that's what it
So
really
it's-
is. It's a
It falls
CPR.
into the multi-purpose facility.
But it does fall into the B category.
B category, absolutely.
Or at least for me now.
22 families served in Milton
Well, look at you pulling data.
utilized it. So it's low in terms of participation.
So we'll give it a B and we'll see what it was
Yeah.
in the most
Yeah,
recent
I mean, the
session.
one thing I would point to it is
I thought
that it's also valuable.
Good for
Right,
them.
you got 22 kids out there, for the safety of the rest of the community.
Right.
Like, I like to see when my babysitter had a certification, just
Yep.
in case. Right?
Yeah.
So it does improve the everyone else in there, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
And I know Alpharetta does actually have what I believe is a business that does it.
Probably
I don't
a
know
provider of some
if it
sort.
does. And something that we discussed way many years ago, my first time here, when we had a very similar conversation, was we didn't want to take away from businesses that were already providing it.
Right.
So I don't know where that might be. But it's definitely something to look at when you talked about the numbers coming out.
Okay, so it's got to be. We'll go to basketball, adult and basketball team.
So I'm going to take a veer at this one. If we look at our programming, we have swim and tennis. This is essentially all we have for the adults, right? And I wouldn't even say we have competitive swim, so we would say we have competitive tennis for the adults.
Right.
So that, I guess, that was the one thing that kind of jumped out to the adult softball, the adult basketball. That may be something as we look as a provider, we should say we want to cover all of our citizens, right?
Right.
Whether we're offering some adult activities as well. That would be my thought around adult basketball. I think it would be.
I agree. To me, I put that in the aspire to have, right? Versus us subsidizing,
Oh, correct. Yeah,
right?
Yes.
Rather, once we have the infrastructure within Milton and the facility and the space, you offer out that service.
Yes.
That's kind of where my mind went.
Yeah.
So I
Aspire to
had
have.
both softball and basketball, as you're saying, an adult, as the aspire to. But I would love to, Jim, do you know if there's a large community of adult softball teams? I don't know. I know in Northern Virginia when we were
Yeah,
when
there
I
is.
was
There's
living in
4
Virginia, it
nights
was
a week.
massive.
4 nights a week of adult softball at North
You're
Park.
playing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, plenty.
Is there facilities?
Yeah, plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, in Alpharetta. A question on basketball, we'll stay there, because I agree, we should offer more sports to all ages, parents and kids, but Tom, maybe you can speak to this. How is basketball teen different in the MOU than our basketball provider? Were we essentially having two?
It's offered in more seasons there in Alpharetta.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So we have
Year-round.
teen-aged
Fall basketball,
winter.
winter, okay.
Yes. Yep, and they sign up as
Yep.
basically a team.
I've seen
When we
the
say
winter
team, we're
teams.
talking high school kids.
Yes.
Yeah, the high school kids do play in the winter.
15 sophomores and older, typically.
So we do cover basketball, because that's the other one that I would point out, is we cover basketball essentially from second grade till high school, third grade, whatever, fifth,
Yeah.
whatever grade they.
Yeah.
In season.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that, you point out, in basketball, again, we want to keep people active and doing things, a basketball team at the high school level is 12 kids, right? There's just not a lot of opportunities, right? If you're not great, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't be a pretty good basketball player, and we
Right.
still want to encourage you to play basketball and be athletic and all the benefits that come from being, out and participating.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the majority of that winter program is like that because a lot of the other kids are playing that AAU.
Yeah, I mean, those are all guys that
Yeah.
are, I'm talking about the kid that's a football player and a track guy, but
Right.
can't play high school basketball.
Well, yeah.
And he's a good athlete and wants just to go play, right?
Yeah.
And go shoot around. And, I played in a rec basketball league in high school. No practices or anything. You showed up with your buddies and you go play.
So why are we limited? Just curious, because Kim would do it.
He does do it.
No, during the other seasons.
Gym space.
It's gym space?
I'm sure, right?
Capacity.
Well, yeah, and he just never has offered it. He does do a spring and fall league, loosely done. It's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And they train and then do pickup games, basically.
He probably didn't do it because the MOU covered it.
Well, I
So
will
it
say
would be-
this
it
last
would be
year
competing
was a
against-
bit, I'd like to see his number because he did pick up a lot of teams in the winter.
Yes.
So
That was
let's,
a new age group offering last
New age group
winter.
and girls.
Yep.
so let's make it a B and see where the data comes in for basketball, both adult and teen. And on that same vein, I would put softball. I suspect that youth softball is going to come up pretty highly participated, so it may go to A, but let's look at the numbers and we'll
I'm
do
sorry,
this.
Chad, when you say A, is that have now?
A is like next year, 2020. We want to make sure we would gut feel today is we want to cover that.
A means now, B means aspire.
B means we're going to look at the data next month or at the next meeting.
What does aspire to have?
So Aspire might be adult fitness because we'd need a facility.
But if we
Right.
want adult fitness now, even though we don't have the facility,
Right.
We can
could
still
move
say we
adult
should.
fitness. I'm suggesting, as Jason said, there's probably plenty of places for somebody to go get adult fitness. But if adult fitness was supporting the use of a building with some other programs, then we'd move it up. Yeah. But that might be farther out in the future because I don't have a building or ground or anything at this point. So B's are going to give me, let's go look at the data next month, and then that'll help us prioritize the B's. A would be, we sit here and we go, that program we need to offer that on January 1. We need to figure out how we can take care of the Milton residents in that program.
I bet
If something barks at you that loudly, then let's make it an A right now. But
youth softball is an A.
I'm guessing it probably is pretty
Yeah.
close. Because at some point, to be fair, right, the 2020 budget isn't unlimited. So if there's a bucket of money to cover out of city fees for our residents to participate in other cities, Alpharetta or other places, and we put a program on that list.
Correct.
That money will run out at some point. So
And one,
we
one that's being done well.
So we don't want to put too many. One of the things the data will help us is to determine how big that could possibly be. So I like the idea of a data-driven decision in there. So I'll give softball and basketball both Bs. Cheerleading we already got covered with our current provider. Dance.
Based on the data, I would give dance and gymnastics an A.
You would. I like. Okay.
103 families served on dance, 348 on gymnastics.
But the gymnastics data, wasn't that,
Part of the
isn't that they get you a couple times a year?
Part of the gymnastics discussion around is what is recreational gymnastics and what is advanced gymnastics. Because there is a group of people that, the one woman, I've seen some emails, and there was some public input that didn't get to our meeting last month of a teen parent, so an advanced gymnastics wants to, those people are getting hit without an MOU because they face increased fees. And one of the challenges we'll have is And I think one of our missions in the Parks Department is to offer recreational level programming. So one of the filters as we get into some of these programs is what is recreational versus what's advanced. And I think gymnastics has a large advanced component.
The way this one was broken out was gymnastics year-round, and then gymnastics year-round, team year-round. So it's stratified between
Yep.
the two, so that may be getting to
Team was
what
more,
you're,
yeah,
more competitive. Yeah.
right.
Thanks, Jim.
So we're on dance. Well, thanks, Jim.
It became clear you guys needed it now. So what we have, wait till you do the microphone.
What Jim has provided is fiscal year 18, so this is 2017 participation for some programs,
And it's up through spring of 2018.
18. And it includes breakouts by city of residence, Alpharetta or Milton, others, so it starts to show a little bit of the stratification. So if it helps, we'll start with dance where we're at right now. And dance is a third of the total people in the dance program are from Milton, 212 families, I'm assuming that's what this is, or registrations. Registrations, I'm guessing.
Wow.
So it's a lot of dance during the school year. I am hearing maybe dance makes a list of A.
Yeah.
This is where the numbers made a difference.
Yeah. We can look at art classes just for fun year-round. Just go back and look at that. This one, again, this is data that's a year old, and we know that the numbers are up in the most recent term of the agreement.
126.
But it was 126 families in the art program, or 126 registrations. So that may help us as we get to final prioritization. So I'm guessing dance goes to A
Yeah.
for the moment. Okay. Dive team. Let's go to dive team. Dive team up on the top of page 1 shows me 77 Milton registrations out of 259. Yep. Given that I might make that a B.
Agree.
For the moment, we'll see what the more recent data breaks out. Now we'll jump into gymnastics. So gymnastics, year-round gymnastics for Milton residents is 692, which looks like a kind of a winner on total participation of Milton residents on the year-round side. So I'm assuming that's recreational gymnastics, different than the team year-round.
I don't know. How would we know?
Well, we are aware from working with it that the team gymnastics is considered your advanced level, travel level, and the gymnastics, the regular gymnastics apparently is a rec type program.
Yep. So based on the numbers, I could easily see suggesting an A for the moment, for today's purpose of discussion, for year-round an A for gymnastics, since there's 692 families in it. Team gymnastics, I know there are a lot of team programs out there. There's a large number of Milton families registrations participating. This 509 if this is a measure of registrations, that means that each participant's got a count of 12 in there. So 509 divided by 12, we're at 40 families in team. 40 participants, something in that neighborhood. So
Okay, so that's not the same as the yearly.
since they've got it
Monthly.
listed as monthly, so
Okay.
I might put this on the B list for the moment.
Well, we do need to discuss, as you said a second ago, about advanced level.
If that's team, if that's advanced level, it might even move
Yeah.
farther down, it'd be like, if we have a building, maybe we'd offer it, but
Yeah.
we'll wait and see what data comes in the next go-round. Karate has 56 Milton residents registrations in it. Be interesting to see if that number's moved in the next one.
That was one, we've done a lot of research on some of these things. We've identified the number of families
Yeah, I remember
as
that.
well as the number of total, participants. Karate was one that there was 5 people
Yeah.
who signed up a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that may be one of those monthly ones too, right? Where they're dinging you,
Yeah, because there is, I remember the other spreadsheet that showed
the number.
showed the number of families
Families,
versus the
yes.
number of registrations. So I'll put karate on the B list for now. Open gym memberships. Should I assume that this is a monthly registration?
I'm going to go see if I can get that.
And I don't,
It is an annual membership,
annual?
and, well, let me look for it.
What does open gym look like, Tom? What do people do in open gym?
Basketball.
Yeah, it's just whenever the gym's not being utilized by a program, they have it as open gym. and
Open gym.
This could truly be, probably not. 274 seems high, though.
That's why I'm thinking it might be monthly.
It might be scans, like how many times, each time a card
Yeah,
gets
because you're
scanned.
saying you're signing up for an open gym?
It's like a membership you
So
get.
it's I go to like Forsyth County, they have there was a facility not too long, and it was $10 a month.
Right.
But whenever they didn't have youth activities there, they
Yep.
had open gym.
Right.
So I could get in there at 6 o'clock in the morning and a bunch of other guys, and we go play hoops.
Yep.
Right?
Or you drop in for 5, and then you
Yeah,
decide,
or you drop in
is
for
it worth
5.
it to get the membership,
Yes.
or just drop in?
Yeah, so you could drop in for, that was what it was. It was like drop in for 5, or it was like $20 or $25
Yep.
for the year. Right?
I'll put that on the B list. See what the
Interesting.
current data shows to it.
Don't do that with the open fields, please,
Yeah.
because people will just show up.
Well, that's the difference in that there's no, I mean, people do it all the time at Bell, right?
Oh, yeah,
Nobody's on it. I drive by, nobody's
Right.
on it. I was
Right.
out there on Monday morning.
Yeah, we do it all the
Nobody's
time.
on it? Sure.
Right.
Let's go play at Bell.
Okay. Soccer.
What'd you do with open gym?
I gave open gym a B.
Okay.
We'll see what the current data shows in there. Soccer.
I originally had soccer as an A, but it does look like it's low participation.
Yeah, I mean, we're in its best season. It has 51 players.
And don't forget about all the competition already in this area.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got so many different.
Rush, you got
Right,
UFA,
Rush.
you got Roswell, Alpharetta, all those programs.
Well-established programs.
Right.
Do you want to muddy the water, is the
No.
question.
Correct.
It's over there. And
Let's put it as a B,
Elaine.
and we'll see what the current data says to soccer. We've already took care of.
Because there was a time when I wanted to offer soccer.
Yeah.
And I actually,
I remember the first year I was here, you guys told me that you tried to offer a YMCA or a youth soccer and no one showed up.
Right,
yep.
right. Sports instruction.
What exactly is sports instruction?
Is this the youth instructional camps? That's
It's
listed
a
on
class.
page 2?
It's like a class.
It's a what?
It's a 8-week basketball class versus like a league. It's usually geared towards the younger kids. You go to the gym and
B-ball 101.
20 people sign up and you learn basketball.
Wouldn't that be covered under Kim?
Different programming.
Different.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the season.
It's you just show up. It's
not the team.
It's a Wednesday class. You show up for 8 Wednesdays and you're done.
And there are no games, it's
No.
just,
So
No,
that
it's just
would be-
instructional.
Yeah.
So that would be this youth instructional sports camp line that's on the second page under summer specialty camps?
no, that's probably different too.
Or there's an
Yeah, you know-
instructional year-round down here
Right.
under instructional programs.
Yes. So the year round is what I was talking about, and then there are sports camps, which
Which are like
a week long.
week-long high school coach
And-
comes in and does.
That sounds like an aspire to have when we have a facility.
Correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that too.
But we do offer them outside. We already offer them, well, we have basketball camp, and then we do lacrosse.
Let's look and see what the
Baseball.
current, I'm going to
Yeah.
fall back to, let's see what, give it a B and see what the current data says to sports instruction. See if it's moved. Sport tykes. 45, this is a summer camp, 45 participants from the city of Milton. Let's see.
Is there a define, what is sports tykes anyway?
The sports, I'm surprised they got, I thought that was actually a company, but
It was, or is. It was when I was,
to
it
my
was when I was
understanding.
employed there.
is you come in and today, you have a Friday afternoon or Friday morning class. Today we're doing baseball.
Yep.
And tomorrow we're doing soccer, or next Friday we do soccer.
Right.
I mean, this is 3-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's younger.
2, 3, 4-year-olds that,
It's just not sports specific.
Yeah,
Each class, they might do 2 sports, or they
Right.
do 1 sport each week.
There was
And
a
the
group
instructional
play
sports
ball.
are the same ages generically, but they're
on
specific
this
to a
list,
sport.
There was a group play ball, right? That did the same thing.
45
Building our immune systems.
in the
About
summer.
5 from the bottom.
Oh, I see that. That's during the school year. There's another one in the summer
Where's that at?
on the second page.
Second page says 45.
So now we're at 120 plus. I'll give it a B. We'll figure out what it says in the current data. Summer day camp. So we're back to summer specialty camps.
Strategic plan.
There we go. Summer day camps. Wills Park Summer Day Camp. Looks like
Well, if we have a building, we should.
246 registrations for it, which puts it in the. We're getting a lot of Bs. We'll wait and see what we're putting a lot of credibility on Alfred to turn over their data. I know we've been waiting for it for a long time. Tree climbing. I don't have any trees in my yard we can climb in. Tree climbing is not, there was an adult component of that, wasn't there, Tom? And Alfred, I think at one point?
Where is that one? Oh, it was
I don't know.
I don't see it on the.
bottom of the
Oh, here it is.
page.
First page,
people.
4 up from the bottom. 2 people.
Yeah, I don't
I think we can move that to a C comfortably. Jim?
More numbers.
Thank you, sir.
Here we go.
What I'm giving you here, this is the numbers from the year before the numbers you're looking at now. So this was the 2016 data. And what we did is we took some of the programs where we had an ability with the data we were given to actually study how many total registrations, how many families were served, and how many participants. So that lets you see, and if you take a look, for example, at the one for karate, that's the one where there's 5 participants.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Jim. I know we've seen it before. It's been a long time, but that'll help as well. So we give tree climbing. Let's go to volleyball. Volleyball, year-round volleyball.
It's low. Is that because of all the massive volleyball programs that are here? though?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it goes over to, it's like soccer.
yeah.
Okay. We gave soccer a B. I'll give it a B for now. We'll see what the current data shows when it comes in, because some of this is old. Okay. So,
So we are we are talking about programs to offer.
right.
Okay.
Or offer in the year 2020 means we might choose to subsidize
Correct.
out of city fees.
Okay.
Correct.
Right.
So 2 things have to happen in that. A, we have to narrow down a list of recommendations to send to council. Along with that would have to be, I'm guessing, some kind of forecast of what the revenue cost would be.
The reason
of
I
that.
was asking is I noticed that, and Tom, you can speak to this. I noticed that there was a soccer team at Bell the other day that had rented the park. And were they mostly Milton residents? Just curious. The reason I'm asking is even
know
though
where they
they're
were
a
some.
part of another program, Rush or whatever. It wasn't Rush, but it was something else.
It was AFU.
Is there a need for space that they're currently obviously not getting, right? It's not a program we would offer, but clearly there's a need for players that are in this area to have space for the field. So I don't know how so that's why I was asking, is it just we're looking at this?
If it's a rental,
Yeah.
we don't check residency.
No, that's fine. I was just saying that there may be a need for teams to have a place to practice. If we're talking about possibly looking at active fields, they may be associated with these other programs, but maybe they have issues with space as well. We should be looking, maybe it doesn't fit these numbers, but maybe there is a need. Obviously, there's need for fields, I'm just saying.
There's always a need for fields.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think the focus right now is on what programming we should provide.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
providing fields for other programs.
Other programs, yeah. City XYZ has their own issues if they're field constrained.
Right.
Welcome to the modern world.
Now, I wanted to add something because Matt Coons had sent this to me some time back when we were discussing this before, because I think I've seen that we did this once before. He had a couple people email him on disc golf. I know that's a B or even a C, but the thing is that it was brought up by a resident that wanted to discuss the potential of disc golf. I know it's an active park. I don't think you can put that at a passive park.
Disc golf is considered an active sport.
Correct.
Okay? So it could not go at any of the land that is
Green space bond.
green space bond purchased.
Well, you probably saw the email too then, right? The one about the disc golf? Okay.
I see a lot of emails,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. The only, Providence Park would not be a good location for disc golf because there's no open spaces. It's trees.
Right.
You could do one hole
Birmingham
in
Park.
the back.
Yeah, across the parking lot, yeah. The Birmingham is the only place where we have the open space and we have the legal right to put disc golf courses there
Yeah.
that we currently own.
Well, I just throwing it out there.
Sure.
Gotcha.
That's entirely something you guys, if you want to put it on the tables, put it on the tables. This is something we should be offering. So that's the whole purpose of this discussion.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys think it should be there, put it on the list.
So the summary of this discussion around what was previously covered and offered left us with 2 A's for tonight's review, which was dance and year-round gymnastics, not team. Those 2 made it to the A list.
Dance and year-long gym. Yes, correct.
Okay, so then
The team moved to B.
we'll get the data, hopefully for our next meeting. We'll look at it in a little more detail.
I missed, did you say what was softball youth?
B.
B, okay.
I suspect it's probably an A, but let's just look at the list real quick from.
Oh, we have AYSA,
You know,
so
and
that's,
we're gonna,
they've got the parks
like,
there.
To your point, get additional data and, you know, let that drive some of this decision.
Right.
I would say we are, you know, certainly for the stuff that we're looking for at 2020, it could be a very slippery slope, right? Just that, you know, hey, you said softball but not volleyball. There's 10 extra families in softball than volleyball. Why is that the cutoff? And, you know, we could be getting into this where at this point we just say we don't offer it, and that's unfortunate. We're doing our best to move it towards the future. But looking at things in 2020 that we want to do, we could be going down a slippery slope
But
and opening up a can of worms.
I don't disagree, but I think what we've got to lean on is data.
Yep.
And we draw a line in the sand, and the line is predicated based on the budget. We can only afford to subsidize so much, recognizing that long-term, we want to invest in the city of Milton, but still serve the needs of the residents by subsidizing select based on a budget of X.
Yeah.
So you lean on the data, and you lean on the budget.
Yep. Yeah. So the lines may get drawn. It might be there may be minimums, right? Where you say if you can't get to this threshold of participants, that sport doesn't fall in.
Yeah.
If and whatever that number may be, let's just say it's 200. The first go round is if a sport has 200 City of Milton residents participating in it, then we're going to agree that should be something we make sure that we continue to provide in some manner. if the next program is at 199, a line has to get drawn, right? And that's the hard part of what our recommendation will be. I agree that you can anticipate that some other sports will, maybe the 5 karate registrations will come out of the woodwork.
And I think that
But
part
I
of
think
it's
that's the balance.
justifying this out, it could be a bigger can of worms that it maybe we're saying that, hey, we've already swallowed the pill of ending the MOU.
Yep.
Why do we want to open up parts of it again? It could be part of that discussion for 1 year or 2 years, right? And maybe the decision might be like, hey, we already swallowed the pill. Hey, now we're focusing on what we
I
should be
think-
offering long-term, whether long-term be 2021 and 2022.
Yep.
As opposed to funding some of that money for this.
Jim, I don't know if you might have been out of the room helping us with the data, but I would imagine for the benefit of the council and for Steve, when we get to the list of what we should offer 2020, we'll have to put a budget. We'll work with you all to put some kind of what we think the implication of the budget decision is. So if we picked, for example, softball, and it makes it to the A list, we say we want to take care of girls playing softball in the city of Alpharetta, Milton residents. We'll extrapolate out some line item of what we think that would cost the city in 2020, and we do that down the line for all the sports.
There would be a tremendous undertaking to do, and I think we would be working, if we were to do so, we're working under the assumption that it's going to be a voluntary thing. It's not going to be an automatic thing.
Correct.
Because not everyone will choose to.
Well, and we won't have a perfect world of the data of who's participating yet either, because now we don't have an MOU. We don't have the back and forth on the data, so we're missing that piece. So it's a best hypothesis on each item. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it may get to the point where, August 2020, the budget that was set aside for out-of-city fees for whatever programs we put on the A list is just gone.
And
it could get there, right?
Both your A lists are inside.
Yeah, so it could get there. So to Jason's point, it has some touchy spots that'll be slippery, but we've given a list to at least current programs, and we'll start with that. Next item is to look at the Connor's work for the other cities, just to see if there's something that jump out at us.
Sure. Okay.
I know you sent it to us previously, Jim, but it was
No, it's something we'll have to do on display.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Connor's probably not watching tonight's meeting, but he did a lot of good work on pulling together the plethora of offerings from our neighboring cities. We'll get it turned on.
Okay. Now, if you look at your screens, you'll start out at the bottom here. We've got the 5 tabs: Alpharetta, Cherokee, Forsyth, Johns Creek, Roswell. Just to get an idea of what we're looking at, Roswell, the list is at 422 different programs. Johns Creek, 37. Forsyth, 237. Cherokee, 54. Alpharetta is at 161. So let's start with our neighbor Alpharetta. And as you can see, Connor broke it down. Their summer guide and things we're doing, but I'm not going to read every one for you. I think that would be very tedious. But there are things here. What you need to do is you need to be able to look at this and say, you know what, these are things we should be doing. And I will scroll slowly.
Drool in the pool.
Yeah, I saw that.
What's Camp Happy Hearts?
That is a camp for special needs children aged 6 to 12 who then roll out and come to Camp Joyful Souls.
Futsal.
Little veterinarian camp.
Hopefully they don't teach dissection there.
I like the teen movie night. What do you guys think? Crab Apple? I don't know if you have property there.
Got this big green space sitting right behind us.
Yeah.
We used to do movie nights.
No.
Well, you also
No,
did it at the.
at Friendship Community Park at Crabapple.
Okay.
We used to do them. The challenge became during the summer, you wanted to have movies that are sufficiently rated that anyone could come. And so, you're talking basically, PG movies. And then by the time it gets dark enough to run the movie, the kids were falling asleep. It was
Well, the shopping center with Publix in it. What is that called? The one on Birmingham Highway or Birmingham Road. We went to that when Milton first opened. It was run by the people inside that property. It was actually kind of nice. But then the ice cream place and the pizza place went out of business or something like that. So there was the end of movie night. But you're right. The kids got a little crazy and fell asleep. And
I'm going to keep scrolling through here.
Well, that's a lot to strive for.
A lot of these things you see are being done in a facility,
Right.
right.
And some of it, you see painting and drawing and, portrait.
Variations of a theme.
Variations of the same,
Yep.
right? I
We probably got 'em in the bucket
I have one room
Of
and,
art.
and I'm doing a lot of different things. My guess is some of this is.
Cupcake decorating.
Some of this was put in there as a way to fill space, right?
Sure.
And an instructor doesn't want to come
Well, he
and
was
teach
very
one
thorough.
hour class.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they do 2 or 3 back to back, and they get
Yes.
more utilization of their own time.
And when a community builds a community center, it's a big, expensive building to run.
Yep.
You want to see it get used.
Yeah.
And so you start to create now. Over here by line 94, you're starting to get into some of the outdoor sports.
Group meditation.
Learn to read sheet music for ages 3 to 4.
Oh, good Lord.
Would we have seen these in the registration numbers when we were still under the MOU? Should a Milton resident have participated?
We would think so. It's entirely possible that they've been expanding programming. This is, don't forget the latest data we've got is from 2017, and this is the 2019 data.
So one of the things that may happen, to your point, Phil, is this list of additional program ideas is probably bigger with
Right.
with the incoming data
Right,
and things that we've already been covering that we just didn't even talk about yet because we don't even know what they are
right.
since we're on the hook for them. So they may be some of these items in here. So Jim and I have been talking. We're waiting on Alfreda to provide this data. They're a little late with it, but.
Now, does anyone want me to go through Alfreda one more time?
No, but I'm just thinking out loud before we look at the other cities, Jim, maybe the assignment should be that we do this ABC amongst ourselves to this list, not tonight,
Yeah.
but before the next meeting, so that you've got at least a starting point of what you think. So as we're coalescing the new MOU covered programs, some of these may make it in there and you'll have an idea of, hey, that's something I really think we should do. Like, I think it was brought up, maybe CPR certification is something we should really think about offering. If other cities, if we go across and every city's offering it, we should be offering it. If we can work out with public safety that they can do it, then we should get in that. Even if we offer it twice a year, we should consider exploring it. That would be kind of a.
Technically, the city of Milton already offers CPR training because they do it through the fire department
Right.
on the first Saturday of every month.
Right. So some of that might already
So
be
some of it may not necessarily be a parks recreation program.
correct.
But it's a program that's offered in the city.
So we armed with the additional data, assuming we get it in time, I think one of the things that we'll take away from tonight's meeting is that we should each take this spreadsheet, Jim sent it to us, and put a column in there and start doing our own ABCs to it before we meet on the 19th. It'd probably be a reasonable assignment.
Do you want us to send it to you before, or do you want to bring it in on that day?
Bring
If
it
you
on
s-
the-
If you send it to me before, we can consolidate it and tell you this is what the group thought.
All right.
Yeah, 5As, 4Bs, whatever the breakout is.
Okay?
We could do that.
I will say it is going to be hard to try and look at some of these indoor things and put them in an ABC, but
I certainly agree.
That's why, I might, just to save Jim, Tom, I might just bring it armed with it, because I think the content's going to drive the near-term decision, 2020, about what are we going to do with it. If you feel so strongly about something that we should do it next year, then that makes it to the A list.
there's two on here I like that wasn't on Alpharetta, Parents' Night Out and Teens' Nights.
So maybe rather than have us collate it, because what I hear, if we get on that path, you'll have Zumba classes, and it'll be amongst the five of us, or six of us, when we get Shawn Michaels votes, you'll have 1A, 3Bs, and 2 Cs. I don't know if that really tells us anything.
Right.
Rather than go through that exercise.
So-
Well, actually, it does tell you something. It would tell you that as a group, you're undecided about it. But those things that come across with 5As, or 4As,
Oh, yeah, good point.
Well, the other side is if we'd go 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
And then the ones with the lowest numbers. That way, if I put it as a 1, 4 of us put it as a 1 and 1 puts it as a 3,
Yes.
however you want to say, if 3 is the best and 1's the worst, or what
Yeah.
the case is, it would give us a numeric value
Yes.
to that.
Yep, we can do
Yes.
that. So since we're
That's
talking
a
before we
great
look at the other programs,
input. That's a great idea.
how fast can every one of us turn it around?
I'll make it a priority.
I mean, if we got it to you by next Thursday, then you'd have a week, 5 days. We get it to you by the 11th?
If
then
you got
you'd
it
have
to
a
me
week.
by next Friday,
Okay.
we could turn it around for the
We're
following
going
week.
to ABC them?
Just do 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
is-
3.
1 is best, 3 is worst.
So we want low numbers would mean
Win.
a win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we need to clarify that.
Yeah. Who finished first? Who finished second? Who
Yeah.
finished third? Yeah.
Right.
Jumping
Right.
out, just so you guys know, this adult kickball, I've heard people do this across the country.
Well, I'll let you know that right now, as we're here meeting across the street, they are having in the private the green space there, they're having a cornhole competition. They brought lights in.
Oh, that
and-
too, yeah.
Yeah.
They
That,
do it at Avalon, too.
that I
There's
think
a
is,
league
I
at
think that's
Avalon.
being fueled a little bit by alcohol.
Yeah, well,
But-
that's a private. Yeah.
Travel for that.
Yeah.
Who's putting that on, Jim?
It's
Commercial enterprise.
Old Line Dog and the guys out there.
Alcohol establishment.
Yeah. Dang, I missed that tonight. I would have been there.
Water Safety Week, man, Cherokee's got some good programs.
Okay, so before we, so we're going to commit that we'll get these to Jim by next Friday. If you want to try by Wednesday, that'd be even better. But rank order 1, 2, 3. That'll be the follow-up. If you want to send it back out to us, though, just make sure
I
we
will
all got
do
it
so.
current.
Yeah.
Just
That'd be
for
awesome.
activities that we feel we should be offering, not the entire, we're not ranking the entire list. Or do you want,
If a program meets,
or do you want a numerical value for every single one?
Well, what if there's some that you just feel absolutely not, and you say 0?
Like you had a bad experience at Zumba.
But that
That would make the score better.
You know
That would
what?
make the score better.
Okay, all right, so, all right, then if we say 3 is best.
Yep.
2, 1,
3,
and
2,
0.
1.
3, 2,
The highest score.
A higher score.
higher score.
yep, so somebody could get a 0.
All right, good point. But if you, this way, if you put a number next to everything,
Then Melissa will have some data amongst ourselves on how we feel about them.
All right, so the scale is 0 through 3.
0 through 3.
0 to
3
3.
being the best.
3 being the best.
Got it. That's a great idea, Jason. Thanks.
Scott, can you reach out to Mr. Janssen and let him know?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
All right. Do you want me to continue to scroll through these?
No, we're
No,
going to
it's
look at
all
them
right.
now.
Yeah,
Don't need
again.
to.
I mean, because here,
I mean, Roswell gets
Oh, God, Roswell.
422 things?
line items of programs.
418.
Ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
We got a couple of them.
Oh, no, it's 417 because there's a couple of headlines. So it's just called 400 plus. More cake for us.
Now, if
How
some
to
of
do
these
wait a
categories,
minute, the cartwheel clinic. We just missed the cartwheel clinic.
if some of these fit into a category like art, if there's 18 different art things, are we ranking all 18?
I
or
just
are we-
group it as arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts, yeah.
Arts and crafts.
And fill in the blank, okay.
okay.
I won't get into watercolors.
What I'll do, Scott, is I will add another column between A and B, and I'll simply say score.
Yep.
3 equals best, 0 equals worst.
Perfect. That'll be
Okay.
easy to do.
Yep.
So I'll resend it out to you, all of you tomorrow.
3 is good, okay.
Yep.
Do you want to add a column for each of us and then a total column? Then you just dump
No.
in a formula?
No, I'll just do that
You'll do that on the back end?
on the back end, yeah.
Okay.
Puppetry camp. That's scary.
There's a lot of stuff I've been missing.
Well, but we have to remember that Roswell is the oldest city and also has the most facilities, indoor and outdoor. So it's not surprising that they have the most programming because they're probably things come off this list different this year than next year because they're always trying to do something.
Here's one I don't even understand. Pump track camp. Learn skills and techniques to ride pump tracks. I don't even know what a pump track is.
I don't either.
Don't know.
Wow, they have a Minecraft.
No goat yoga, though.
Clay and climb. So now they got art and tree climbing combined.
Work building.
What is that, where you climb up a tree and then throw clay at people?
Yeah.
So you're like a squirrel throwing nuts?
Reversible messenger bag. The Learn to Sew class. Depict food in your art.
That's actually pretty cool. Stop motion. Learn to stop motion filmmaking. That's kind of neat.
Did you look what that is? Did you look what pump was? What is it?
You notice they have a lot of
Goes up and
adaptive
down.
programming?
You don't pedal.
Got it.
Just keep going round and around.
They have veterans programs too. That's smart.
Sounds fun.
Shoot the hooch is probably something we don't want to offer because we don't have access to the hooch, yeah.
Darn
It just doesn't
But we
seem
should
anymore.
offer it.
it. We should. We need to build a river in our city. Let's put that on our capital improvement list.
Can we do
Build a river.
build a little subsidiary?
The Whitewater Trail.
Into the hoops
Well-
so we can do it?
Well, isn't there like a little creek that runs along between Milton and Cherokee County?
Chicken River. What is that?
No, it's
What is that up there?
Chicken Creek.
Chicken Creek.
Isn't there one in that
We
parcel
could do.
that we just
We could do it at the
acquired?
Milton Country Club on Chicken Creek.
Chicken
Next to
treat.
proposed boardwalk.
We can't disturb the Chicken Creek snail darter, though.
Or is that the Etowah?
Okay.
Goes into that.
Let's offer skeet shooting in Joey's backyard.
Little
right in
River,
the
we're thinking
Milton
of.
Country Club.
You know, again, I think as we go through it, the idea is what, use your near-term vision about what do you want to do, what do we need to do in 2020? That kind of really steers us for anything we need to consider.
I would think anything that's a 3, what you're saying is 2020.
Yeah. 3 would be, we want to offer it next year, and then everything else is we'd have to figure out how to
210.
get there.
Two
So,
is what?
Pardon?
What? You said 2 is,
Well, 3 is something you think we need to be offering right now.
got it.
yeah,
2,
offering means
1,
subsidizing
or
it.
0.
Yeah,
Subsidizing or offering it.
or offering it if
In
we've
the
got,
city.
if we've got a place to offer it,
Yeah.
yeah. But, like CPR, maybe we can't, maybe we are already doing it.
We're
So
already doing it.
that's going to go to the list of we're already doing it.
Right.
If the other cities are calling it a program, then we could call it a parks program.
Well, the other cities are running it through Parks and Recreation. We're simply running it through public safety.
Public safety, right. So that might be a program that gets a 0 because the comment, we're already doing it.
Yeah.
Or we may come back and say, hey, we're already doing it. You may teach us about a few other things we don't know. But yeah, I think 3 is helping prioritize what are 2020, and then we'll talk through it some more.
A lot of these, I want to point out, if you take a look, for example, here's Mommy and Me Gymnastics. A lot of this programming is programming that is geared toward the stay-at-home parent for when the kids are in school, when the older kids are in school.
Right.
So there's a lot of toddler-type programming. They get the kids doing something, and then mom goes over and works out on the, does her Zumba class and things like that. So a lot of that is geared towards an indoor facility, and do we have one yet? No.
Okay, it's an assignment. It's for a big first step. So we've all got 2 assignments then. Really, one is to prioritize this list in front of us, and then the other is to follow up with our program providers on their 5-year forecast. Because that's
I'll check the email, but can you send that just in?
yeah, I can do that too.
Scott, I won't be there in 2 weeks. It's my daughter's birthday on Thursday night. But I do have.
Wait, that happened last year.
No, that was Joey. I do remember. I agree.
No, the birthday happened last year too. But
That did.
Oh, yeah.
Just not on a Thursday.
That's fine.
I provided the program provider update.
Yeah.
You have that, and I'll provide this by next Wednesday,
Awesome.
Thursday at the latest for you guys.
Great. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, Connor did a great job. I mean, he's to
Yeah.
be commended. This is a lot of research.
he,
That's a lot of work.
it took him a lot of time getting up and doing it and say, okay, I gotta walk away from this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But he was committed to doing it as completely as he could.
No, that's awesome. That was a great work for him. I know he took a lot of pride in it, so I'm glad we'll get a chance to put our eyes to it. Good. So this item will carry into old business or unfinished business for next month as it relates to programming from the City Parks Department, and hopefully we'll be armed with Alpharetta data, and we'll have a little workshop during our meeting on that topic, and we're on our way to building out a better plan for Parks and Rec. Thanks, Jim. Tom?
Yeah.
The last item under other business, Mr. Craig, is an email discussion.
Yes, and I actually have a couple other things to brief you on. We got into the word was, we're going to get emails, city emails for everyone who serves on all the boards. I was unaware that the city was also working on a email policy. So the emails for the PRAB were rolled out when the city was having a problem with the email data that when we converted from VC3 to our current provider, which is Interdev. And they felt that the easiest way to solve the problem was to stop trying to use your old emails and use the city-provided emails. Well, unfortunately, there was supposed to be an email policy to go with that, which I was unaware of. So I was asked to get you guys to stop using the city email for now until such time as we can not only provide you email, but provide you an appropriate policy on the use of the city email. Perfect. So I will go back to using your emails, which fortunately I have remembered, and so we're going through them. So that's why that change happened.
Gotcha.
I do want to alert you that in case you're asked, the playground at Bell Memorial Park has been closed for over 2 weeks at this point. We were working to get the shade structures put in. The contractor had a challenge when they ran into rock, which caused them to delay. And then during their effort to complete the work, they contaminated all of the soil in the playground. The playground is supposed to have a level of dirt and then 9 inches of engineered wood fiber as a cushion. And they didn't scrape the EWF off first. They just drilled through it, which brought dirt and rock and mixed it all in with the engineered wood fiber. So we had to close the playground for the complete safety because we had exposed rocks, and what do little kids do when they see rocks? They throw them. So There is a hope that the playground will be open for Saturday. We've got contractors that were working on it today and tomorrow to dig out and rebuild. I'm not completely confident that'll be the case, but if you're asked, we had a construction challenge and some problems. But the posts are up for the shade structures, and the shades themselves should arrive in another week or so and then put them up. This project's been a bit of a challenge. It was supposed to be completed during the summer, but we are working very diligently with the contractor to try and get this completed.
Okay,
Okay?
thanks for that update. Anything else for us, Jim?
Actually, I was curious. I noticed you guys posted a lot about the tennis team winning something. They were in the city, Milton. They were
Yes.
here at the
Yes.
council.
There was a men's team, actually, I think it was mixed doubles, I believe it was? Mixed doubles team that won a USTA championship. No, it was Alta, Atlanta Montana. And then we also had a girls 18 and under USTA and a boys 12 and under USTA team that won USTA championships in the city.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Great.
it's very cool. And the swim team won their first ever swim meet this season. And
Outstanding.
so that's a step in the right direction as well.
On the board.
Awesome.
On the board.
On the board. That's a good one.
And we got, the pool is closed now, thank God. Two of the happiest days in the job for me, the day the pool opens, the day the pool closes.
That's funny.
All right,
Okay,
that's all we have, sir.
that's fun. Good, great recommendations or great updates. Any other thoughts, comments from board?
We got work to do.
Got some work to do. Next month's meeting should be kind of busy. October will be a good, put a bow on it as we're getting closer to recommendation. I know Steve and council are looking forward to our recommendations. Has a lot of impact for all of our citizens in addition to ourselves. So I'm excited about what the next couple months of work will get for us. So nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Alberici,
I'll second.
second by Shannon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Thank you very much.